Ever wondered why the NBA playoffs feel like a never-ending marathon, or why some rules seem to stifle the excitement of the game? From the controversial restricted area under the basket, to the strict bench rule that cost the Phoenix Suns a shot at the title, and the often ignored traveling violations, these rules shape the game in unexpected ways. We'll also explore why reducing playoff teams, adopting the 1-and-1 free throw rule, and returning to a best-of-5 first-round series could make the NBA more thrilling. Get ready to rethink what you know about basketball with these surprising insights into NBA rules. Stay with us till the end, because reason number 1 is a real game changer. Number 7. Rethinking the NBA's restricted area for better defense. The NBA is often criticized for its lack of defense, with some top players focusing more on offense than protecting their end of the court. Looking at you, Steve Nash. The NBA has a 4-foot semicircle under the basket, known as the restricted area, where defenders can't draw charges. While it's crucial to keep this circle to prevent constant collisions under the basket, its current size allows for cheap offensive fouls, as seen with players like Rasheed Wallace. This large restricted area can discourage big men from playing aggressive defense, making it easier for guards to drive to the basket. For defensive-minded coaches, this rule can limit effective strategies. While scoring is important, a solid defense is equally vital. Reducing the size of the restricted area could strike a better balance, enhancing both offensive and defensive play. Number 6. The costly consequences of the NBA's bench rule. According to Section 7 of the NBA rulebook, during an altercation, all players not in the game must stay near their bench or face suspension and fines. This rule, often compared to football's tuck rule, arguably cost the Phoenix Suns a shot at their first NBA title in 2007. After Steve Nash was hit with a cheap shot by Robert Horry, teammates Boris Diaw and Amari Stoudemire instinctively got up to defend him. They didn't fight or threaten anyone, but they did step over the sideline. This minor infraction led to their suspension for the next game. The Suns had just tied the series and were set to play Game 5 at home. Missing 2 key players, they lost Game 5 and eventually the series, with San Antonio going on to win the title. This incident highlights how strict adherence to the bench rule can have major repercussions on a team's championship hopes. Number 5. Traveling in the NBA. It's funny, but traveling in the NBA doesn't need a rule change. It just needs to be enforced. If you've watched an NBA game, you've probably noticed that referees often overlook what traveling actually means. According to the rulebook, a pivot happens when a player steps in any direction with one foot while keeping the other foot, the pivot foot, on the floor. If they want to dribble after pivoting, the ball must leave their hand before the pivot foot lifts. If the pivot foot is lifted, it must pass or shoot before it touches the floor again. Moving in any direction with the ball beyond these limits is considered traveling. Yet, this is frequently ignored by refs during games. For more proof, just check out the video above. Number 4. Why the NBA should cut the bottom 2 seeds from the playoffs. The NBA playoffs are already like a season of their own, stretching over 3 months. Plus, half the league makes it to the postseason, which is like letting half of Georgia into Augusta National. Dropping the bottom 2 seeds in each conference would help the NBA in 2 main ways. First, it would trim the excess fat from the playoffs, making them shorter and more exciting. Second, it would add more importance to the regular season. With fewer playoff spots, getting in would be more prestigious, and post-trade deadline games would be more intense and competitive. To make this work, the NBA could adopt an NFL-style format, giving the top 2 seeds in each conference a bye week. This would boost competition at the top as teams fight for the valuable extra rest. In terms of supply and demand, reducing the number of playoff spots would increase their value, raising the overall level of gameplay. Number 3. Why the NBA should adopt the 1-and-1 free throw rule. In most basketball leagues outside the NBA, there's a rule called 1-and-1 used for non-shooting fouls when a team is over the limit but not yet in the double bonus. In the NBA, the same foul gets 2 free throws. Professional players shouldn't be rewarded for missing free throws. If anything, it should be college and high school players getting the 2-shot bonus. Adopting the 1-and-1 rule in the NBA would be beneficial for several reasons. First, the pressure to make both free throws would add excitement and drama to the game, highlighting clutch players in critical moments. Second, it would affect end-game strategy, giving trailing teams a better chance to catch up, especially when fouling poor free throw shooters. Lastly, it would increase the emphasis on free throw shooting, a crucial but often overlooked skill. Overall, this change would make the game more thrilling and strategically rich. Number 2. A needless rule that hinders the game. Offensive goaltending is when a player touches the ball while it's inside the imaginary cylinder above the rim or interferes with the rim when the ball is there. This rule seems unnecessary. The goal of basketball is to score, and offensive goaltending only gets in the way. Over the past 2 decades, the sport has evolved with exciting above-the-rim plays like tip-ins and alley-oops, showcasing players' incredible athleticism. These plays distinguish basketball from more grounded sports like baseball, hockey, and football. So, why limit such an essential aspect of the game? Typically, offensive goaltending ends up hurting the offensive team. If the ball is already in the cylinder, it's likely going in, and any deflection could knock it out. This rule discourages aggressive play around the rim, which is a thrilling part of basketball. Overall, it doesn't improve the game and caters to less athletic play, dampening the sport's high-flying excitement. Number 1. Why the NBA should return to best-of-5 first-round playoff series. There's no denying it. The NBA playoffs drag on longer than Pat Riley's hair gel supply. Nearly a decade ago, the NBA switched the first-round playoff series from a best-of-5 to a best-of-7 format. Here's why they should switch back. First, like someone trying to lose weight, the playoffs need to cut down somewhere. Second, each year, there are usually 1 or 2 first-round series that end in sweeps, unnecessarily prolonging the losing team's agony and risking injuries to star players on the winning team. Third, a shorter series would be more exciting. Imagine last season's Lakers vs. Thunder series compressed into 5 games. Lastly, Charles Barkley would have a higher joke per game (JPG) average, packing more humor into fewer games. So that's all for today's video. If you like this video, click the like and the bell buttons. We'll have another video for you soon. Take care until then.